Welcome in to Outkick the Show, Monday edition. I hope all of you are having fantastic starts to the week wherever you may be across this great country or this great land. I am Clay Travis. This is something we call Outkick the Show. We are off and running. Lots to get to. Going to talk about the coronavirus update, why I am optimistic despite doom and gloom that you will see everywhere else. We have got Cam Newton news. We have got Drew Brees news and the NBA to Vegas, why it might actually be a really smart idea. But we begin with the latest on the coronavirus. I'm going to start with positivity because you see almost no positivity anywhere. It appears that in Italy, we have now gotten past the worst of the coronavirus crisis in Italy. It is now 9, I believe, straight days. I just wrote it down. What did I write days? 9 straight days of declines since a peak of new daily infections on March 21st. So, if you look at the entire roster of what has happened in Europe, Italy is the worst situation in Europe. Spain is the second worst. Italy has hit its peak and has begun a decline. How long that decline will take, I'm not sure, but they have had a peak in new daily cases. They have hit a peak in overall cases when it comes to deaths in a 24-hour period, and they have begun the descent. Now, a lot of people out there want to argue the United States is going to be Italy in 2 weeks. If that were actually true, based on Italian data, in 5 days our issues would peak in the United States, right? You've been hearing for a long time the United States is Italy. If that were actually true, then in 5 days the United States would hit its peak. I'm not sure that's going to happen, okay? It appears that we have roughly plateaued in the United States, but we are not Italy. We are not Italy because we've had nowhere near the death rate of Italy or Spain. If you want to compare us to a German country, to a European country, we are Germany. We are much closer to Germany and the UK, to England, the United Kingdom, than we are to Italy or to Spain, okay? So, as you look at the overall trend lines going on right now, we hit on Saturday a high for daily deaths. On Sunday, we came down. We'll see whether we can put it under the daily high that we hit on Saturday again on Monday. They adjusted the numbers on the world meter. We initially were under the lowest number in 8 days. We ended up being a couple of hundred up. But the key is, over the last 4 days or so, there hasn't been an uptick in terms of very much at all new daily cases. And again, yesterday, we went down for the first time in 8 days in total deaths. So I am cautiously optimistic. Again, the numbers can fluctuate on a day-to-day basis, but I am cautiously optimistic based on the numbers that we may have come through the worst of New York City. Now, here's what's going to happen as you look out around the rest of the country. We're going to have different little outbreaks, right? We are going to have different outbreaks, be it in Wayne County where Detroit is, in Cook County where Chicago is, in down in New Orleans we may have an outbreak. We may have an outbreak in certain parts of Florida. But if you look at the overall population numbers, it appears to me to be unlikely that anywhere is going to be as bad as New York because the population in New York is larger and more dense than anywhere else in the United States. And so, while there will likely be outbreaks elsewhere across the United States over the next month or so, I believe that if you look at the numbers, we are likely to go up maybe a little bit more and then begin a decline throughout the month of April. My hope is that by May the 1st, we can start to legitimately believe that the worst is all behind us. Again, based on the data, if you look at the way the numbers are coming in and just try to forecast where we are headed. Again, it appears that almost all of Europe is through the worst of their outbreak. And I think we're probably a few days behind Europe, not 2 weeks, but probably if you look at it, 6 or so days. We had an outbreak in Seattle. We had an outbreak now in New York City. What's going to be different for us is that we're going to have, as a much bigger country, different breakouts and different outbreaks, I should say, that happen all over the course of the country over the next month or so. So this is, I believe, we're going to be fine. All right. I started off my radio show by saying I know everybody wants to sell the idea of fear and doom and foreboding to all of you, the fear porn as I've been describing it. We know how this story ends. We defeat the coronavirus. That's how the story ends. The question is, what is the time frame in which we defeat the coronavirus? And I believe, this is what I believe. I believe by June, we will be talking about the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL, all of them coming back. I think before that, we'll have golf back. I think that we will have NASCAR back. And I believe that college football and the NFL are definitely going to happen. And I would be very much surprised if those sports are not taking place come late August, early September. Whether or not fans will be present, I think will be a function of where exactly we are as a country. But honestly, I don't really care about the fans. Maybe I'm an exception here, but I watch 99.9% of the sports that I consume on television. I don't really care if there are fans present or not. I understand that, 80 or 90 or 100,000 of you may want to go to a game, but I really just don't care about fans being present that much. If the sort of bargain that we have to agree to for the rest of this calendar year is sporting events will take place, but we'll just be able to watch them on television without going in person, I don't understand why that's such a big deal. I want to watch. 99% of people watch sports on television. I don't really see the 1% really mattering that much in the grand scheme of things. By and large, sports is a television product. And I say that as a guy who's got season tickets to the NFL. I enjoy going to the NFL. I much prefer sitting and watching an NFL game on my couch or NFL games than I do going to one. I love college football. I wrote a book about going around to all the college football games. I don't really care that much about going to games. And oftentimes what stinks is if you're a huge fan of college football or the NFL, if you go to one game, your game might be crappy. And then you miss all the excitement that happens at the other games. And I feel the same way about basketball. I feel the same way about college. To me, going to games matters when it's like Little League and you have no other option other to watch it. I coach Little League baseball. I coach Little League basketball. That's where it really matters to me. I want to make sure that I'm there for those events with small crowds watching tiny little guys play games. But in terms of college or pros, I'm not really that fired up about it. So while there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, and there are a lot of people who want to sell you bad ideas, I believe that sports are going to be back. I believe in June we will see the return of the NBA and the return of Major League Baseball and the return of the MLS and the return of the NHL. I think there's way too much money at stake. Wall Street Journal today said that if the NBA season is canceled from this point forward, it will cost nearly $700 million to ESPN and to Turner because they're continuing to pay for their television packages even though the league might not be taking place. I'll get to a solution that I think makes the most sense when we go forward here in a little bit. But I believe that the games will happen in June, and by the fall, we won't have to worry about college football or the NFL. Okay, Drew Brees. I wrote yesterday at Outkick. You can go check it out at outkick.com, outkickthecoverage.com. Drew Brees has got 2 years and $50 million left on his contract. Based on what I have been told, ESPN, having swung and missed chasing Tony Romo, who ended up making $18 million a year with CBS, and ESPN having swung and missed with both Al Michaels and Peyton Manning, according to the New York Post. I am told that ESPN has zeroed in on Drew Brees as the next Monday Night Football voice. They will bring him straight from the field to the booth whenever he decides to retire. Right now he has 2 years, $50 million left on his deal. He's $41 million. $50 million left on that deal. He would get an 8-figure deal to be on Monday Night Football. And as a result, this would be a pretty substantial addition for ESPN while everybody is chasing after, everybody wants the next Tony Romo. They believe that guy can be Drew Brees. They don't want it to officially be announced because it's awkward for a current player to already have a broadcasting deal. Also because NBC might be in the Drew Brees market. It's not signed. We'll see whether or not it ends up happening or not. But this is the guy that ESPN has focused on. I'm told that in the meantime, it looks like Kurt Warner or Steve Young-ish hire, a guy who's not going to rock the boat or create much of a stir, may be in line to be the next Monday Night Football analyst as well, holding that place until Drew Brees comes in and would be the future of Monday Night Football. ESPN's deal with the NFL has 2 years remaining, nearly a $2 billion a year deal. They want to send a message to the NFL that they have fixed their Monday Night Football booth in the wake of John Gruden's departure to take back over the Raiders. They want to get better games. They want to get playoffs. They want to get into the Super Bowl rotation. They feel like Drew Brees would be a solution that the NFL would be happy about if they brought him in as the next voice of the NFL, although they may have to wait 2 years. We'll see until the 41-year-old Drew Brees decides to come and join the Monday Night Football booth. Now, a lot of you can share all of your nominees of who you think Monday Night Football should be hiring. I know Pat McAfee wants the gig desperately and had a funny reaction on social media when the Drew Brees news came out. From me, again, Drew Brees has been the choice and is the choice. He could still reject the offer, but he's got an 8-figure offer to be the next Monday Night Football analyst. This would, of course, create some intriguing dilemmas for ESPN as they would have to fill that role for the next couple of years. But again, it would make theoretically the NFL happy about knowing that John Gruden's departure, which led to Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, and Joe Tessitore, and a Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland booth this past year, at least there would be a bridge leading to somewhere. All right, Cam Newton. Cam Newton is now an unrestricted free agent. There are a lot of different potential options for him, but not a lot that makes sense. Right now, Fox Bet just hung the numbers on who is most likely to sign Cam Newton. He's the most intriguing free agent. Also, Jameis Winston is out there, as well as Andy Dalton, going to be a free agent at some point. The LA Chargers, who I've talked about a lot as making the most sense. The LA Chargers minus 137 likelihood to sign Cam Newton, followed by the Jacksonville Jaguars, who would theoretically bring him in as a backup to Gardner Minshew. The Miami Dolphins, who have a lot of different moving parts associated with their quarterback position. The Patriots at 6-1. Broncos at 6-1. I guess theoretically he'd be the backup to Drew Lock now that they have let go of Joe Flacco. The Washington Redskins and the Vegas Raiders. But again, the Chargers are a substantial favorite to sign Cam Newton. That would bring Cam Newton all the way across the country to LA, give them a little bit of sizzle as they move into the new SoFi Stadium, would allow Cam Newton, who considers himself to be a global icon, to attempt to come back and reclaim his status as a solid player in the NFL, as he has been basically on decline ever since the 2015 Super Bowl when the Denver Broncos whipped him pretty solidly with their defense. Okay, finally, I wrote about this. I'd encourage you to go read it at Outkick. Idea that I think makes a lot of sense for the NBA. Why not finish your season by going to Las Vegas, take over casinos, bring all your doctors, bring all of your players, all of your referees, all of your owners, all of your coaches, put them inside of a hotel, quarantine the hotel, you've got 4 different venues where you could play games. You can either finish out the regular season, or you can just say, screw it, we're starting the playoffs. And if you started the playoffs, in theory, you could start the playoffs with every team included, or you could only go with the playoff teams. Either way, as someone loses, they would go home. I think it offers an awful lot of opportunity. Again, ESPN and TNT stand to lose nearly $700 million, according to an article in the Wall Street Journal, if the season is not completed. You could play without fans present, make sure that all health concerns are taken care of. You could call the games remotely. You wouldn't need a large contingent of people there. I think it makes a lot of sense. The English Premier League is also working on a theoretical aspect of this as well. The English Premier League is talking about their own bubble to complete the season and allow Liverpool to finally win their league title. I would imagine the NHL will talk about it, as well as also Major League Baseball and the MLS have less of an issue going forward because they have outdoor games. But I believe all of the leagues will be exploring this. Again, I started off the show by saying I believe the NHL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the MLS, NASCAR, PGA, UFC, whatever you like, will all be rolling by June. Sports are an important part of returning our country to normalcy. I think players, owners, coaches, executives, I think they all want to get back to playing their games in a way that is safe. And I believe Las Vegas offers the best possible location for it. One central location. You eliminate all travel. You don't have to worry at all about any of the related issues outside of Las Vegas. Great weather in Las Vegas, hot in the summer, which theoretically means best possible health conditions considering what we're going through right now. I believe Vegas is the play. We're going to talk about it a lot tomorrow on Outkick the Coverage, my morning radio show. I appreciate all of you. If you need a podcast to listen to and you watched The Tiger King, how about checking that out with Mike Leach? We had a great time talking about it. You can find it. All you have to do is search out my name, Clay Travis, and you will be ready to roll. If I happen to look over and I see you as being a super negative commenter, guess what? You're blocked forever. I think it would be a tragedy for me to allow you to be a doom and gloomer spreading fear porn in the comments if I happen to look over and see it. I love all of you. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. My name is Clay Travis. If you enjoy the show, share it with your friends. The audience for these has been absolutely insanely massive. I know a lot of you are at home. A lot of you are quarantining. You are bored out of your minds. I'm hoping that I can be an optimistic voice to make your day a little bit better already. I appreciate the time and the feedback from all of you that I am getting. Hope you had a good weekend with your family or your friends. I played wiffle ball. I played football. I played basketball with the boys. Lots of Madden in my house. A lot of sports in general. It's going to continue for the foreseeable future. I appreciate you guys. Lots of people working from home. A lot of people taking a break to watch the show or share it. Thanks to all of you. I am Clay Travis. You can find me on Twitter if you're watching on Facebook at Clay Travis. I'll keep you updated as best I can with positivity. We're going to beat this. The only question is when, not if. And once we know that, it ain't complicated, boys and girls. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. This has been Outkick the Show. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Kisses. XM, by the way, Sirius XM right now, channel 83. Got a bunch of questions about where you can listen to the show. Sirius XM, channel 83, from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. The Fox Sports channel, we're on there right now while there isn't early morning programming. Also, there's an XM station where you can listen. There's a list. We have over 300 AM, FM affiliates nationwide. You can stream us at foxsportsradio.com. You can find us all over the place, but we're on in all 50 states as well as satellite radio, plus the podcast. You can't miss us if you need something to listen to while you're working from home or you're driving around and you need something good every single day, Monday to Friday. All right, love all of you. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching the show, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with radio and with another Outkick the Show. Keep your heads up. We're going to be fine. We are going to beat this. The numbers are starting to break in our direction in Europe and also in the United States. I'm very optimistic based on what the numbers are telling us. See y'all. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. Thank you, Facebook. See ya.